Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Now I know you're looking at your camera going, Michael, what are you doing? Well, you know, when I was a kid growing up, when we used every Sunday, my dad would wake us up early, we'd have to go to church, and he would always say Sunday best. So I felt today was a little Sunday best. So I put on my outfit, and I know I have jeans on, which Dad wouldn't approve of, but the fancy pants are still a little snug from the old shoe days, so can't wear those. And I was feeling kind of good about my outfit as I got dressed, and I walked out of the bedroom, and Liz looked at me and she said, what, are they auditioning for Newsies today? So there's that. But one of the things that got me kind of thinking about childhood and Sunday and all those great things are, after church on Sundays, we never really went out to dinner when I was a kid. And after church on Sundays, we would go to get breakfast. And I always wanted steak and eggs, and I was never allowed to get it. So today, I'm going to do, I added a little thing that we're gonna do in the recipe. We're gonna do an egg souffle with some steak and hash. So we're gonna do a little breakfast for dinner, steak and eggs. So a lot of questions people have been asking if potatoes have, you know, if they're getting some eyes on them, which I knocked off, or if they're green, are they okay to use? So when a potato is green, typically what happens is when it was grown or slightly post being picked, it was exposed to too much sunlight or light, which makes it green. You know, when you grow potatoes, we grow potatoes here a lot, and if the potatoes get too close to the top, if you don't bury them deep enough in the dirt or sand or even under hay, they start to turn a little bit green on you. So with a peeler or a knife, you could just knock that off, and that's good. In the recipe today, I was going to use fingerlings, but I don't have any fingerlings left. I used them all yesterday, and we had these potatoes that were starting to sprout and green. So I'm just going to cut these. This one's a little smaller, so it's going to go in half. Here's some that I already peeled and put in water. And then there's one that's a little bigger. I'll cut that one down in a quarter. So we're gonna make kind of this hash. Potatoes, peppers, onion, garlic. We'll finish it with a little bit of parsley if you have it, flat leaf parsley if you have it. The parsley that I have right now is from like 20 days ago when we started this whole thing. So it's kind of starting to go down, so I am going to use it up today. So we're going to cut these about a little bit under pinky thick, and I'm going to then crisp them. So I'm going to go medium-high heat here in a little bit of oil. I am currently out of olive oil, so we are going canola. My pan was already on low heat, so I just turned the heat up to medium-high and added the oil. Now we're going to let that oil get hot. And we're just going to start frying up the potatoes, and then we'll add our onions, our peppers, our garlic. And then in that same pan, we're going to do the little steak. Now I have sirloin here that I got at the store that was cut real thin. It's going to be a little bit of a tougher cut, so if you're going to do it, we're going to season it and sear it, and then I'll cut it up real thin and top the hash with it. If another way that you could do it that I'm going to show you, because why not? We got time and we could show you a couple different things, is I took some of it and I soaked it in buttermilk with some seasoning for a couple hours, and we're going to flour that and crisp it up. The buttermilk will actually tenderize it as it's sitting in there, and it'll be almost like a little bit of a chicken fried steak. So potatoes are ready. I want them to be dry before I put them in my oil. So I'm just going to set them on a towel. You could do paper towel, kitchen towel, whatever you have.
Everyone says you look very dapper today.
I'm feeling very dapper. I'm feeling kind of, you know, it's been a lot of sweatshirts, hoodies. You know, I'm very proud of my hoodie and jean collection. Sweatpants, jeans, and hoodies. So today we just dressed up a little bit, and you know, Sunday best, Dad. Sunday best. Also, you know, Brother Joseph Shavala, rest in peace. I could still tie a tie. Thank you for the schooling when I was a high schooler. So that oil's getting hot. You can see it's starting to smoke. I'm going to put the potatoes in. I'm going to turn the heat down just a touch, because we don't want to burn them. We just want to start crisping them up and letting them get, they also, remember, they need to get tender in here too because they're raw. So this first process is not only going to give them color, but it's also going to help them cook through. And if the heat is too high, be careful because they will pop a little bit. If the heat is too high, they're not going to cook through. They're just going to essentially burn.
Megan is wondering if she could have kept her skin on her potatoes.
Yeah, you could keep the skin on. But these ones were green, so I cut it off, but you could have kept them on, no problem. Any other questions, Liv?
Yes, we do have another question. Hold on, where did it go? Oh, there we go. Sorry, there's a lot. Vanessa's wondering, how long do you fry the potatoes so they cook all the way through?
These are going to go for about 2 to 4 minutes, going as we're cutting everything else up. And then I'll move them around, and then I'll add the onions and the peppers. And by the time the whole cooking procedure is probably going to take anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. But you just want to test it as you go. A lot of people have been asking them questions, what kind of knife. I'm just using an 8-inch chef knife here. So find one that fits your hand, that you're comfortable with, and that's the best knife for you. The best knife for me doesn't mean the best knife for you. My favorite knife and Liz's favorite knives, sometimes different knives, how they feel in your hand. Some knives are heavier, some knives are lighter. But you want to look for a knife that has a full tang, so the metal runs all the way through the handle. That's a sign of quality. It also gives the knife good balance, which you want. You want a knife to be balanced. And then you just want whatever style handle it has to feel good in your hand. All right, let's keep these.
Amanda's wondering, once you notice the little growths on potatoes, how long do you have to cook them?
You got a week or so. I mean, you got to feel them. If they still have some firmness to them, they're good. If they start getting kind of mushy, you're no longer in a good place. So, once they start getting soft, that's the criteria where no good anymore. And when they start to go, I prefer doing something like frying them to, say, making mashed potatoes, because when you crisp them like this, I'm not so worried if they've gotten a little starchy, or I could add a good amount of flavor to them. I'm just saving stuff that I'm going to add to my stock, which I have going here. You could also use that for compost.
For anyone who misses the first couple of minutes, you can always re-watch these after.
Yes, and they're on the Food Network Kitchen Facebook page. They are also on my Instagram page at Chef Symon with the Y. So all those things work. Also, you guys, sometimes I think people see the video, but if you look up to the night before in the Facebook feed or the Instagram feed, we put up the recipe. So if they say like, oh, what was that he put in? Or I missed that. So you could look up at the recipe, and then also right after the recipes, if you scroll through, is our pantry list of substitutions. So if you are missing things, you can sub things to get the meal going on the right foot. So no worries there.
Noelle is wondering, why do chefs cut onions horizontally before dicing it?
It's just the easiest way to do it. You got to go kind of both ways to do it. If you're dicing it, you're going to leave the root on. If you are slicing it, you take the root off. And when you slice them horizontally, you get pieces that are all evenly sized. If you cut it the other way, you get a big ring on the outside, then a smaller ring, then a smaller ring, then a smaller ring, so the sides are consistent. So we're going to give this, see, you can see there we're getting some color. Mm-hmm. That's great, because that's going to give us a little bit of texture.
Did you rinse the potatoes before?
Well, I soaked them in cold water.
Okay.
But I just did that so they didn't discolor. I could have went right from potato to, what am I trying to say? Right from slice to pan. But if you don't want them to discolor and you're doing a bunch at a time, you can put them in water and you're covered.
Mike is wondering if there's anything he can do to stop the oil from popping.
No, the oil's popping because vegetables have moisture in them. So as the moisture is cooking out of the vegetables are getting sweeter, but also it's going to pop. But make sure, if like something like a potato that you put in water, to dry that first, nice pinch of salt, To dry that first is going to help with the popping a little bit. You could also buy one of those screens that you could put on top. That will work. You could put on a lid, which will help, but then you're starting to steam a little bit more. So we're just going to let these continue to go. Put it in my garlic.
Calvin's wondering where you got your fashion inspiration from.
My what?
Your fashion inspiration.
Well, according to Liz, Newsies. But you know, the last time I wore this hat, people said you're dressing like Bobby Flay. I want to make the record straight. I have been rocking hats for like 25 years or more. So B Flay, you know where you got the hats from. You used to wear the baseball cap a little tilted to the side, and then you saw my Cleveland style and you bought into it. Now you have a lot of the same hats as me. When you lose your hair at 21 years old, you get a deep hat collection. I have lots of hats, lots of Vans sneakers in my repertoire. All right, so the hash is going. Now this is going to be the fun egg thing. Now you could just do eggs over easy, sunny side up, all those different ways, but I wanted to show you guys a kind of fun, easy egg souffle. So I took 5 eggs and I separated them. I'm going to take the whites. You could do this by hand, but I'm going to put them with my whisk setting. And we're just going to whip them until they're like medium stiff peaks. And I'll show you when those are ready. We have our yolks here. I'm going to put a pinch of salt in my yolks. And mix that together.
Michelle's wondering, could she have used peppers that were in her freezer for this?
Yeah, you could use frozen peppers, no problem. You know, some people have pepper allergies, so you could certainly omit peppers too. Also not a problem. I just like the flavor and texture the peppers give the hash, but you know, a straight out potato and onion hash is delicious also. You could obviously stir this with a spoon, but this is just easier for me. Sounds like those are getting close.
Steven is wondering if he could put jalapenos in the hash.
Yes! Spice up that hash, Steven. That's all good. Alright. So here's what I'm looking for with my egg whites. So they got some like medium soft peaks. We're now going to take our yolks. I'm going to pour those in. And then we're just going to fold these relatively gently into our egg whites. Anybody from Cleveland is watching. Last night I did an egg souffle omelet for a little fundraiser we did for the food banks in Cleveland. So you just want to get those yolks incorporated.
Ray is wondering if he should add any other seasoning to the vegetables besides salt and pepper.
I don't think they need it. We're going to put some parsley in at the end. Oregano would be good, marjoram would be good, thyme would be good. But you know, you could keep them as simple, or you could put chili flakes in them. All right, you can see the yellow streaks are gone, the white streaks are gone. We're incorporated, but we're still pretty fluffy. Now I have a cast iron pan. I'm going to put about a tablespoon or so of butter in there.
That's looking good.
That's looking good, Liv? Oh yeah.
Francesca's wondering what's the difference between a souffle and a frittata.
The souffle is puffy. So this is like a, you know, think of it as a puffy omelet. All right, so I'm just swirling butter all the way around. I have some extra butter, so I'll put it in with that there. Real quick, easier for me to work. Now we're going to take egg mixture. Put it in our cast iron pan. Smooth out the top. And then I have some white cheddar. I'm going to take the cheddar and grate it all across the top of this. I'm over low heat underneath, so we're getting some color and it's helping it set up underneath. And then when we're going to put it in an oven at about 400, 425 degrees, which is going to cook the eggs through, and it's going to puff a little bit, and you're just going to get this cheesy onion souffle. I'm pretty excited about this. Pepper on top too.
Mary's wondering if you can remind her what kind of steak you're using.
I am using a sirloin. Just sirloin tip, they're calling it. It's been sliced very thin. You can see it right there. You know, inexpensive, a couple bucks a pound. I think it's like $4.50, $4.99 a pound. A little bit goes a long way.
Kimberly's wondering if you have to use a cast iron pan for the eggs. Or
no, you could use a non-stick. You're looking for any pan that has slightly straight edges on the side. So it doesn't have to be cast iron. It could be any kind of pan that has those straight edges on the side. Uh-oh.
And then we've had a couple questions from fans asking how you clean your cast iron pans.
So after I use the cast iron, what I like to do is I then put some kosher salt in it and I rub it out real good. And then turn it over high heat or put it in like a 500-degree oven and then rub that salt out. Put a glove on because the salt gets hot, which cleans, salt disinfects, and salt's going to suck up all the kind of grit and grime on the pan. And then after you do that, you just rub a little bit of oil in there and it's good to go for the next time. So that's it.
And we have a couple of people asking if it's okay to always leave your butter out on the counter.
I always leave my butter out on the counter. I know they say not to. I go through butter quick. I never put butter in I put a stick in at a time. I don't put it in the fridge. I know people are going to freak out about that, but that's just how I do it. So, all right, little splash of vinegar. You could put mustard in here too if you'd like, but I just keep it pretty straight. The reason I put in the vinegar is because we have fat and the vinegar helps cut through it a little bit. You're just putting in a little bit more than a tablespoon. I'm going to put the potatoes in my casserole and I'm going to stick them. I just have an oven at about 200 degrees. We're just keeping it warm when we make the steak. So now what we're going to do, it's making me schwitz. Now what we're going to do is we're going to wipe out our pan. So we're doing this in one pan. So we just give the pan a wipe. We get over medium-high heat. We're going to put in some more fat. And we're going to do two different preparations of the steak. So we have this guy. Just season it with your favorite rub. And a little bit of salt. And then we have the one in the buttermilk, which the buttermilk has already been seasoned. So then you just got to put a little bit of salt in your flour. And we're going to, whoop, no salt. And then those are good. So, a little bit of salt.
Deb's wondering what temperature the oven is on for the eggs.
About 400 to 450. It's hot. And that's only going to take about 4 minutes. 3 minutes. All right, so those go in like that. You keep shooting those steaks, Liz.
We have a fan asking, what can you use coconut oil for?
You could do everything I just did with this oil. You could do with coconut oil. Coconut oil has a high smoking point, so it's good. All right, let's check this out. So these are the ones in the buttermilk. I put some salt in my flour. I put the spice rub in the buttermilk. We're going to go in the flour. And then this is like, if I put egg in here too, it would be a little bit more chicken fried. But now these are going to go in this way. And remember, the buttermilk is going to help tenderize that meat a little bit.
Oh, Delphine is right. You got a little Peaky Blinders vibe to you today as well.
Oh boy. My friends at home are going to give me grief for this. I know it.
Melanie's wondering if you don't have buttermilk, how do you sub?
You could, I mean, buttermilk's going to help it tenderize. You could take regular milk or heavy cream and put a little bit of acidity in it, but you're not going to get quite the same effect. I'm going to put in a little more fat because the flour part needs it.
Tracy's wondering what size pan that is that you're using.
That's a 12-inch. So it's a 12-inch pan. It's a pretty good sized pan. A nice sear there. Just moving around in the fat a little bit. And these are the kind of steaks you're going to cook all the way through. You know, this isn't like a rare, mid-rare situation here. This is a cook all the way through situation. That's what's going to help it get tender, break it down a little bit. All right, steaks are almost ready. Let's see how our eggs are. Oh, we're not puffing. They're puffing. We're almost there with the eggs. Okay, so I'm going to pull these guys off.
Willette is wondering what seasonings were in your steak rub.
Yeah, I just use a barbecue rub, but it's like a mixture of paprika, coriander, cumin, cayenne, celery seed. So if you want to buy a rub that's already made for maybe your favorite barbecue joint, you could do it, or you can just mix some of those things together. Also salt and pepper. These are sitting here. Hash. I'm going to take the ones that were not buttermilk.
Ken is wondering if all pans are oven safe.
You got to check the manufacturer's directions. Obviously, if they have a plastic handle, rubber handle, not oven safe. Typically, if they have a metal handle, they're oven safe. But you want to check to what temperature. Some are only oven safe up to, like, I know a lot of non-sticks are not oven safe. You know, up to certain temperatures. So you got to check whichever your pan is. All right, so you could do that style. Or we have the ones that we buttermilk and fried up. We're going to dab those on a little paper towel to get off any excess fat.
Tony's wondering, how do you tell a steak is done by just poking at it?
It just firms up. The more you do it, I mean, eventually, the more you cook, the more you'll get used to it. But, like, okay, so, rare, if your hand's open like this is rare. Medium rare. Medium, see how I'm going to each finger? Mm-hmm. I go to my third finger, medium well. You can see how it's firming up. And the pinky, well done. So, well done, medium well, medium rare, rare. Mm. Huh? You like that one, Liv?
It's good. See if I remember it.
You won't. Okay, so I'm going to put the chicken fried steak on top of the other steak, so we have steak options there. And then we got our souffle, baked egg, cheddar. Take a little bit of parsley.
Everyone's wondering where Norman is.
He's running around outside having a grand old time today. He's having a little bit of fun, the Norm. party ended up digging holes in my garden, I'm sure.
We actually had a fan asking how your garden was doing.
It's not planted yet, so there's the perennial stuff is coming back. Things are coming back, but I haven't planted any new stuff yet. Okay, so you can see this is starting to fall and it's pulling away. I want to show you guys how, like, watch how fun this is. Even my hands are.
I was just gonna say it's even too hot for you.
My hands are pretty good, but so you can see it starting to fall in the middle, but you got this like nice puffy eggs. So we could take, let's see here, Liz. Grab some. Do we have any more questions?
A lot of people are wondering how to clean your cutting board. I know you've talked about it a couple times.
Soapy water, just scrub it down with soapy water, let it dry, rub it with a little bit of lemon juice and salt, and then rub it with oil, with a mineral oil, like once a week so it doesn't dry out on you. Alright, so I'm going to go a little bit of hash.
We have a fan wondering if they could sub turnips for the potatoes.
Yes. Again, look at that sub list, guys, and I think it'll make you more confident cooks, and you'll just feel better about the whole situation. All right.
For everyone asking, Michael cleans all of this after he's cooking.
A good amount of it. Liz has been jumping in there a lot lately, so happy about that. That's good. It fell a little bit, but it still tastes great. That's not a knife, that's a knife. Buttermilk tendered up the steak. Hash browns are cooked through, they got some texture, really nice flavor, good salt and pepper. Got some, and they're crunchy from frying, and then the peppers and onions bring a lot to it. Got our egg souffle. All right, I'm pretty happy about this whole situation. So you can get all the recipes at the Food Network Kitchen Facebook page. You can also get them on Chef Simon with the Y on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, along with our pantry list for the next 9 days, along with our pantry cheat sheet, so things that you could sub. And if you want even more recipes, you could go to the Food Network Kitchen app, and there's thousands. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Can't wait to put my comfy clothes back on. Sorry, Dad, I know it was a dress-up day, but this hat is hot to cooking. Let me tell you, this is a hot. Don't cook in wool hats. That should be something that everyone should learn.
A lot of people said they don't cook in hats, so you might be the last person to.
Well, chefs cook in hats all the time, so I don't want to get any of my hair in the food. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Dish at a time, day at a time. Love you. Be safe.